Well, good morning again, everybody. My name is Tony Grillo, and welcome to my channel, Wisconsin Hugs. This is episode number 8 of Starfleet Football. I'm just going to get right into it. We're going to look at Chief O'Brien here. He was the hero of the last game, and this is where our story will continue. Chief O'Brien's at his station. Not much happening. Nobody really needs anything to be transported. Kind of an interesting side note. If you ever watch any of the episodes, you rarely ever see Chief O'Brien smile. and I think that's what this cartoon is going to focus on. Data to Chief O'Brien. Do you have time to teach me about human emotions? Also, he's like, yeah, you bet. He's needed. First, can you teach me about happiness? Are there any other emotions you'd like to learn about? And I'm sure there are times where Chief O'Brien, serving on the Enterprise, has probably felt unappreciated or maybe not even noticed very much. Remember me? Oh yeah, you're me, but you're from a parallel dimension. How have you been? Not so great. Everyone on this ship keeps mistaking me for you. It's a real downer. You mean people know who I am? Well, just one person, but that was all it took to bum me out. Who was it? Who knew who I was? Was it the captain? No, it was some dude passed me and said, "Hey, Michael. My name is Miles, not Michael. How do you not know my name? We're the same person." I don't know, something about you, just kind of forgettable. But, you're me. I gotta tell you, these cartoons by John Adams are hilarious. He does a great job here. But looks like in this episode of Chief O'Brien at work, he is ready to die. We'll find out what happens. You got Dr. Beverly Crusher there with Geordi LaForge. Okay, Chief. Now you just stand still and relax. Think of happy things. And yeah, that's supposed to be Chief O'Brien there. He doesn't look very good. Something must have happened to him. We're going to transport you to a better place, buddy. And then they make that noise, which I cannot imitate at all. And Chief O'Brien's gone. Wow. It's done. Chief O'Brien is dead. What's your favorite memory of him? Probably the time when I was getting kissed by a real woman and not a hologram. Yeah, that's kind of a joke on Star Trek. Geordi LaForge has never had any luck with the ladies on the ship. And the one romance he did have, it was actually with a woman, a holographic woman in the holodeck. Then the chief called me on my comm badge to ask a question, and I told him I'd have to call him back because I was busy kissing. Then I went back to kissing but didn't hang up so he could hear it as proof. Well, for me, it was time he came into sickbay with a kayaking injury. Through a routine examination, I discovered he had a virus that was completely new to science. It had originated within him and was non-communicable. My research landed me in the medical journals across the galaxy. I'll miss that virus. So our story here starts with Chief O'Brien thinking about his socks. His wife Keiko demanded that he beam his green and blue striped socks out of his sock drawer and into outer space, but he really liked those socks and he just couldn't do it. So instead he happily beamed them back to his feet, and he was wearing those socks while he was standing at his duty station, and he was thinking to himself, I can't get rid of these socks. I wore these socks when I starred in the movie Con Air. They called me ass kicker. I really should find a pair of shades to wear while I'm doing my transporter duties. There was no way he could ever throw these socks away. I mean, he loved that movie, Con Air. Nicolas Cage is awesome. And a song came into his head. How do I live without you? I want to know. How do I breathe without you? My green and blue striped socks. If you ever go, how do I ever survive without you on my feet? How do I? Oh, how do I? Oh, how do I live? And Chief Engineer Geordie LaForge stopped by to check in on his transporter engineer, Miles O'Brien, and they shared a little joke between the two of them. Engineer? And Jafar. Then Counselor Troy happened to walk by the two men, and she stopped for a sec and put her hand on Miles O'Brien's shoulder and gave him a little smile and said to him while batting her eyelashes, "Love to have a drink with you in 10 Forward sometime." And then she gave him a wink and continued walking on and said, nodded her head at Geordie and said, "Hey, Geordie." And Geordie said, "Hi." As she kept moving on. These two men had lots of adventures together and actually found themselves in very dangerous situations many times aboard the Enterprise. So over the years they become pretty good friends. Boy, I've never seen Counselor Troy flirt with anyone like that before. She don't even talk that way to Commander Riker. And Miles said, well, you know what they say about married men. You know, ladies seem to find married men or men that are unavailable more attractive. You know, men that they can't have. Women love competition, and they like to see if they could, if they're good enough to, like, maybe steal another woman's man. Yeah, but what about the way Crusher is always falling in love with the captain? I mean, he's single. Well, the captain technically isn't single. He is married to this ship and to this football team. He's not even going to let a woman stop him from winning a Super Bowl. I mean, did you see the shirt he was wearing today? I think he was trying to send a message to Dr. Crusher. Yeah, I saw that shirt too, and it cracked me up. Hey, Jordy, did you know that I actually have a shirt out there? Take a look at that bad boy, Jordy. It's like a baseball crew neck shirt, long sleeve. You can get it like for $55 at Kohl's. That's really cool, but it doesn't have your face. Well, Jordy, have you seen some of the shirts that they've made for you? This one you can order on Walmart. Personally, I think that Kitty Cat captures your image very well. Yeah, ha ha ha. Miles, that is very funny. But I actually do like that shirt. But I thought this one of me was pretty cool. I saw this one also online at Walmart. It's a Geordie LaForge hoodie. I think they sell it for $55 online. And you know what? That would look really good on you, Miles. You know, I actually like that hoodie. I wish they'd make one of me. It's actually got your entire face on it. Very cool. Hey, Jordy, did you know they also sell a coffee cup with me? What do you think of that? Pretty cool, huh? I love it. In fact, I think I want to get one of those. Here's a coffee mug they've made of me. Wouldn't that look cool on your morning breakfast table? But I gotta tell you, Miles, my favorite cup with my image is the Geeky Tiki cup. Miles had to agree. That was awesome. You know what? I want one of those. That is so cool. Hey, Miles, what do you think of this sweatshirt? Lucky Engineer. Miles was really liked it, but he's like, hey, I'm Irish. Why didn't they make one for me? Talking about women and loving competition for a man's affection. I had a friend of mine in Dublin. We'd go to this pub, and all he would wear is a white t-shirt, and he'd have a black marker, and he'd find a group of attractive ladies, and he'd walk over to them, and he'd ask them if they wouldn't mind signing his t-shirt. And so these ladies would grab that marker and they'd start writing on his white t-shirt, and they'd write little messages, and they were giggling, and a couple of them started like putting their phone number and their name with a big heart, and he would get like 10 or 12 different names and phone numbers, and usually by the end of the night he wound up taking one of those ladies, beautiful young ladies, home with him. And then the conversation moved to football, and Chief O'Brien mentioned to Geordie LaForge that he thought it was kind of odd that Captain Picard would have accepted a gift from the opposing quarterback right before the game was about to begin. I mean, he thought, wouldn't somebody in command have thought that was kind of suspicious, that a Ferengi would show up and say, hey, I'm returning to you your weapon, knock on your door and say, I'm returning to you your weapon that you used to destroy my fellow Ferengis. And then they found out that the football that was put into that gift was actually known as a thought blocker. Picard got so pissed off that the Ferengis would stoop that low to cheat in order to win a football game, and he wanted to take his phaser and destroy the football. But Chief O'Brien came up with a better idea. He waited until that very last crucial moment, the final moment of the game, when the Ferengi Packers would have a chance to win it with a Hail Mary pass. And that's when he decided to use his transporter skills and beam that football out and beam in the thought blocker football. And Miles O'Brien thought that was pretty cool that it did happen that way, because he finally got to be a hero of the game and win one for his football team. We're going to be leaving Chief Engineer Geordie LaForge and Transporter Chief Miles O'Brien to talk about this upcoming football game that Team Enterprise will be playing. They are scheduled to arrive in the Lorenze cluster at the planet of Minos. And as they orbit that planet, a fellow Starfleet divisional football team, the USS Drake, lost to some unknown opponent. And then they never arrived to their next game, so nobody knows what happened to them. And so Picard is hoping he can get some answers. And as they circle around the planet, there doesn't appear to be any life forms here on Minos. So they beam down to the planet where they see a stadium, and it says Lucas Sun Stadium. It is the Minos football team is known as the Indianapolis Colts of the galaxy. And they have a very beautiful stadium. There's like nobody there. Commander Data pulls out his tricorder and comes up with an astonishing discovery. He tells Picard and the away team that this stadium was built overnight, and that all the construction materials here are only like a day old. And Picard is wondering, how can that happen when there's no life forms on this planet? Then Jake from State Farm, of all people, shows up and greets the visitors. He's a holographic image. And he says, hey, welcome to Lucason Stadium. We just want you to know that State Farm is here for all your insurance needs. And we have really great rates. And then he adds, good luck in your football game. Then suddenly, a ominous-looking probe appears directly in front of the Enterprise. Geordi LaForge was told to take the con, and immediately he orders a red alert. Shields up, weapons ready to fire. Miles O'Brien is watching the football game with his wife, Keiko, and when the red alert suddenly goes off and he realizes, hey, I'm not going to be able to beam anybody out of there with the shields up. And he's starting to feel useless again. Wishes he could do something. And Picard and his football team look up into the sky and see another probe flying over the stadium. And then another probe shows up and immediately starts firing at them and takes the football and runs it in for a touchdown. On the pursuing kickoff, Commander Data gets the football, and they come charging at him, and Tasha Yar starts firing her phaser and knocks a few out of the sky. But Data suddenly gets hit by a couple of the probe's beams, and he actually feels pain. And he falls down to the ground and fumbles the football, and the probes score another touchdown. Then another probe zaps Commander Riker and sticks this weird, funny-looking football helmet onto his head, which totally incapacitates Riker, leaving him helpless on the football field. Then the probe that's flying in the air above the football stadium suddenly fires down at the stadium. And it hits a bunch of the people on the team. Captain Picard and Dr. Crusher fall into a pit that's underneath the football field as the stadium above them is getting torn apart. And the clock clicks down to 0 as the Minos probes of the Indianapolis Colts of the Galaxy defeat Picard and his team. Final score, Colts 19 and Picard and his engineering chiefs 13. Then the weather gets really weird and the stadium roof collapses from an onslaught of snow, just like what had happened in Minnesota long ago. And a tornado forms, and it starts demolishing everything in sight. And this onslaught doesn't appear to want to stop. It keeps coming. More and more disasters are forming left and right. The stadium itself is reduced to a pile of rubble. And even nearby buildings have collapsed. And it just continues and continues. Earthquakes are starting to form. Because the probe is still firing shots at the Enterprise, Geordi orders a saucer separation so that at least he could save the family members of the crew of the Team Enterprise. And then he orders Miles O'Brien to hop into a shuttlecraft and see if he can't head down to the surface and try to rescue some people. And Miles is really happy that he finally gets to do something and not just sit at his station at the transporter station and not being able to do anything. So Miles and his wife hop into the shuttlecraft and take off for the planet. And they're able to avoid the probe that's firing at the Enterprise in space. However, they didn't fare so well when they got to the planet because the probe that was flying around above the stadium managed to hit them and their shuttlecraft crashed. But Miles and Keiko were okay inside. And as the destruction on this planet continued on, 3 holographic images appeared in front of Captain Picard and Dr. Beverly Crushers. It was Jake from State Farm again with Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. And Patrick was saying, hey, I just want to thank you, Jake, for the Patrick price. And Aaron Rodgers was saying, yeah, I also want to thank you for the Rodgers rate. And Jake was saying, hey, you know what? We give the same great rate to everybody. There is no Patrick price or Rodgers rate. Everybody gets the same rate. And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Picard was so angry at what was going on here that he just wanted to take his phaser out and shoot all 3 holographic images. But then he suddenly realized he had the answer. And he said to Jake from State Farm, hey, Jake, my football team and I want to buy a bunch of insurance policies from you to protect our family and our property. And then Jake from State Farm said, well, that's really great to hear, Captain Picard. I will draw up the papers immediately. And his holographic image disappeared along with the holographic images of the two great quarterbacks that were standing next to him. All the storms on the planet disappeared, and everything was at peace again. The flying probes all disappeared. The probe that was attacking the Enterprise disappeared, and the probe that was attacking the stadium in the sky also disappeared. And everything stopped. And Picard limped his team back to the Enterprise team bus. And everybody was getting treated for their injuries. And yeah, they lost the football game, but at least they were all alive. And Captain Picard told Data, he said, when the holographic images of Jake from State Farm kept popping up, and then the other two quarterbacks were talking about the Patrick Price and the Rodgers rate, I realized that these holographic images were part of a computer program. And then I realized that this computer program was a demonstration. In fact, the whole planet is being used by this computer program to sell State Farm insurance, whether it be a life insurance policy or car insurance or home insurance, whatever insurance needs you have. This whole planet was designed and made and then being run by a computer program to sell insurance. And that's why the disasters kept getting bigger and bigger, and buildings were collapsing, and earthquakes and tornadoes were showing up, and shuttlecrafts got shot down, and people were getting injured. This is a demonstration program that is run by this entire planet, on this entire planet, by this computer, whatever this computer is. And I realized all I had to do to shut everything down, because phasers and photon torpedoes weren't going to destroy this planet. We weren't going to be able to beat it that way. And so I realized that the only way I could shut everything down was to tell the Jake from State Farm holographic program that I wanted to buy his insurance. And that's exactly what happened. After I said that, the worldwide computer program shut down all the storms, and everything was at peace again. And I think another clue that led me to this realization was when you, Commander Data, told us that the building had been made in one day. The stadium building. The entire stadium building was built in one day. And I realized it had to have been the probes that built that building. So I'm guessing that what happened to the other football team, the USS Drake, they had come here to this planet to play their football game, And they got destroyed by the demonstration program because they didn't want to buy the insurance, or they didn't know what the heck was going on. And then what happens is that the probes go out and they rebuild everything and wait for the next football team to show up. And then they go through the whole demonstration all over again, hoping to sell insurance, State Farm insurance. Then Data said, yeah, we really got pummeled there. We're going to have to figure out a way to defeat cybernetic football players, because I'm only one android and I can only do so much out there. But if I encounter a team full of cybernetic beings, we're going to have to find a way to beat them. And Picard is like, oh, you're absolutely right, Data. Because who knows what's out here in the galaxy, and who knows who we'll encounter in Starfleet football or Star Trek football. But yeah, we're going to have to up our game. So the Enterprise football team is 9-1, but the record was good enough to earn them a bye in the first round. And they are now awaiting. They're going to rest their injuries and hopefully be back to full form during the bye week. And they hope to be ready for their playoff performance, playoff opponent. And they hope to perform well for that game. They don't know who that opponent will be, but they look forward to trying to win a Super Bowl. So I hope you all enjoy this video. I'm still waiting for my first comment. I may even throw that on the next video or subsequent video. If anyone is brave enough to write me a comment, you can tell me if you like it. You can tell me if it sucks. I really don't care, but I do hope you're enjoying this. I hope it makes you laugh. I'm having fun doing it. I've probably got, a few more episodes left in the tank. I'm not sure how much longer I want to do this, but I am having fun doing it. And so I wish you all a great day. Live long and prosper. Wisconsin Hugs.